Welcome back to our current events panel. Joining me again are political commentators Stephenson and Hannah Salamon-Vegh. We're going to switch gears now and discuss the LCBO. That's the Liquor Control Board of Ontario. They are the government agency, if you will, that is in charge of distributing or selling alcohol and liquor to Ontarians. One of the largest, I should say, distributors of alcohol in the world. But they're going on strike, or they are already on strike. The workers are on strike. Brock, why don't you start us off with this one? Or actually, Hannah, why don't you start us off on this one? What's happening here in Ontario? Are people getting their alcohol?
So it's interesting. On Friday, over 9,000 LCBO workers went on strike. And their main issue, so they were lobbying with the government and the conversations broke down. But they're upset mainly that Doug Ford has allowed alcohol on the shelves of grocery stores and convenience stores. They want to be LCBO and their workers want to be the only purveyors of alcohol in Ontario. They're also, concerned about they want wage increases and stuff like that. But their main issue is now they have competition and they don't like the private sector being able to sell alcohol now. And they're, saying it's going to affect, government revenue and stuff like that. But it's interesting because also during COVID, LCBO stores were allowed to be open and nothing else was allowed to be open. So now the tables have turned. They're, choosing to go on strike and close down. You can still order online and they're saying that if the strike goes beyond 2 weeks, they'll have a couple stores open, like 32 stores open or something. But they don't like the competition from the private sector.
Brock, you're based out of British Columbia, I believe. Many provinces in this country have a different kind of method or mode of distributing alcohol. Ontario's maybe sort of unique. What do you do in BC, and what do you think should happen here?
So in BC, the government also controls it very strongly. I think Alberta is the main outlier on this, where they have a relatively free market. BC gets angry too when the government monopoly starts to see competition, but Ontario's union seems to have a weird approach of a half strike. They're going on strike for 2 weeks and then coming back for the weekends. And I don't know if this is going to help build their case on competition. It might help build their case on getting a wage increase, which the government has offered, and I think it's been rejected. But there are plenty of other places in the province of Ontario where you can buy liquor, and I think the LCBO employees may have hurt their own case by showing that people in Ontario can buy their booze in summertime from somewhere other than the government LCBO store.
Yes, perhaps their old tactics are not necessarily the most successful ones in this particular case. But let's talk about that. And again, thank you for explicating that BC has a similar system here in Ontario. And yes, Alberta, I liked it. I could go to a Costco and buy alcohol. It was really lovely. But should the government be in the business of selling alcohol? I think that's really the crux of the matter here. I mean, there are a lot of debates about what the government's business should be, roads, bridges, things like this. But alcohol, should they really be controlling the sale of alcohol, Brock?
I think in Canada, it's been commonly the case, whether it's high Toryism or paternalism, I'm not sure, but I think it's something that the government historically has been very sensitive to concerns of anti-alcohol groups, whether from the Prohibition or Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And usually only in summertime or in the depths of a scandal does the government relax their liquor laws. So I don't think we're going to see government get out of it anytime soon, but I don't know if it should be as highly centralized as it is in most provinces.
Hannah, what is your view on this?
Well, I'm not that in favor of alcohol. And I mean, there's a lot more studies happening these days and being released where, the negative effects of alcohol are being talked about. And a lot of people are choosing to become alcohol free. So I'm not that in favor of alcohol, neither am that in favor of the government regulating it to such a degree. But I mean, the government likes to regulate things under the guise of protecting us, but it's so they can capitalize on it, right? And we've seen that even with the cannabis industry as well, or legalization of drugs for the injection sites. The government wants to have a stake in it for funding and for making money, but they do that under the guise of it's for your safety and for your health to regulate like that. I'm all for competition and for the private sector increasing this regard, and we'll see what happens with the union.
So, Brock, there are restaurants that will be impacted. We only have about 30 seconds. Restaurants will be impacted. They're expected to have patios open. It's finally warm. They want to serve alcohol. What is their recourse in all of this?
They're claiming restaurants won't be heavily impacted, but summer patio season is a key revenue generator for most restaurants and bars in this country. It's not a long season in Canada, and I think it may hurt. The employees of the LCBO aren't buying goodwill from the Ontario public, so I think that'll be tough.
Okay, well, we're going to pick up more of these topics when we return from these commercial breaks. Stick around.